So Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas is really praised for its unique dark vision of Christmas combined with Halloween. However, in the Alpines in southern Germany in that area, there's already prior to this a dark twisted version of Santa Claus and Christmas. So to this dark figure that I speak of that predates the Nightmare Before Christmas is known as Krampus. Krampus is from Central European folklore. He's a horned anthropomorphic figure described as half demon and half goat. Um, and during the Christmas season, he goes after kids who have misbehaved instead of Santa Claus giving them coal. Um, and because Saint Nicholas, Santa Claus is rewards well-behaved kids with gifts, um, and he is known in regions of Austria, Bavaria, Croatia, the Czech Republic, Hungary, North Italy, South Tyrol, and province of Toronto, so Slovakia, and Slovenia. And of course, he's kind of known for being a German thing, even though he's mostly Southern German. Now, you gotta know, I lived in Northern Germany in Berlin, and some of these words I'm gonna be saying, yes, they're German, but it's a dialect I'm unfamiliar with. In the 17th century, Krampus had been incorporated into Christian celebrations, and he can be seen alongside Saint Nicholas. Um, Except apparently he comes around on the 5th of December. After the 1923 election in Austria, the Krampus tradition was banned, and this is done by the Dollfuss regime under the Fatherland's Front, or the Vaterlandsische Front, and basically this was spearheaded by the Christian Social Party. In the 1950s, the government distributed pamphlets that were had the title of "Krampus is an evil man," and but towards the end of the century, a resurgence kind of popped up that celebrates Krampus, and it kind of continues to this day, particularly in Bavaria, where it's been revived with a artistic tradition with hand-carved and wooden masks. So there are different variations of what Krampus looks like, but the common characteristics include usually he's hairy, brown or black, clothed hooves, and the horns of a goat, and he has a long tongue that kind of just lolls out, and he usually has fangs. Krampus oftentimes carries a cane that symbolizes the binding of the devil by the Christian Church, and he thrashes with chains for dramatic effect. Sometimes the chains are accompanied with bells of various sizes. Some more pagan origins, the Rutan bundles of birch branches that the Krampus carries, and he occasionally swats children, of course. The Rutan could also have significance within a pre-Christian pagan intation riots, and the birch branches are replaced with a whip in some representations of the Krampus. Sometimes the Krampus appears with a sack or basket strapped to his back, or to a cart of evil, and he basically, this is to take evil kids to drown them, or eat them, or even transport them to hell. So, on December 6th in parts of Europe, it is the feast of St. Nicholas. But on the preceding night of December 5th, that is Krampus night or Krampusnacht, where he will appear on the streets, sometimes accompanied with St. Nicholas, but sometimes also on his own. And the Krampus visits homes and businesses. During this night, St. Nicholas concerns himself with only the good children, while Krampus is responsible for the bad. Nicholas gives gifts out, and Krampus supplies coal, or basically any of the various, whatever you want to believe, like children kidnapping, beating, etc. So there's a seasonal play in the Alpine region as well, known as the, forgive me, I'm probably going to mispronounce this, the Nikolausspiel, or the Nicholas play. Inspired by the Paradise plays that focused on Adam and Eve and the encounter with the serpent. These plays feature the competition for human souls and the question of mortality. In these plays, Saint Nicholas would reward children for scholarly efforts rather than good behavior at the time. So basically, got good grades, Santa Claus would come. And this was kind of a Roman Catholic influence, is basically where it's mostly focused on. It's also a pagan tradition in the Alpine regions that would become intertwined with Catholicism. Sorry if I stumbled there. And so people would masquerade as a devilish figure known as Pichet, which is very similar looking to Krampus, two-legged humanoid goat, but it had like a giraffe-like neck, wearing animal furs, and people would march in the processions known as the Pirchelafs. Probably also mispronounced that one because I haven't heard of that before, even though I lived in Germany. It's more of a southern thing, and this kind of became like Krampus runs. And by the Catholic Church, it was banned by some civil authorities, and due to sparse population and rugged environments with the Alpine region, the ban wasn't really effective in these areas or couldn't really be enforced at the time. And being inspired by the Nicholas plays, and it kind of transformed into what is known as Krampus. It is customary to offer the Krampus schnapps, which is a strong distilled fruit brandy. So the Europeans have been exchanging greeting cards with the Krampus on it since the 1800s. Sometimes including the phrase "Gruß from Krampus," which means greeting from Krampus, German. I should know this phrase for once. And the cards usually have some humorous rhymes in it or poems. But a lot of times he's like, Krampus is looming over children. Sometimes he has one human foot and one cloven foot, or I guess hoof in this case. And then there's also sometimes the Krampus with sexual overtones. And it looks like he's also like pursuing women in these cards. The older cards tend to have more frightening images of Krampus, while more modern ones have a cuter, more Cupid-like creature has been described. He's also been on postcards and candy containers. Some regional variations that I would like to go over just real quickly. In Styria, routine bundles are presented by Krumpus to families. These twigs are painted gold, and they are displayed year-round in the house as just kind of a reminder to the kids who have forgotten about Krampus. It's just like, he could get you next year. in a more isolated village, the figure has other companions, um, such as the wild man figures. Um, and Saint Nicholas is not always there, so he's usually nowhere to be seen. Um, the companions are called in German Schabenmänner and the Huhen. In places like Salzburg and kind of more popular Christmas markets in Austrian urban places, you see a more toned down version of the Krampus. Um, this is more tourist friendly interpretation, and he's more humorous than fearsome. Northern part of Vendine province in Italy, there's an annual Krampus festival held in early December, just before the sun rises. The Krampus comes down from an old cave and chases children, boys, but also adults, pushing them into strokes on the legs, quote unquote. To satisfy their anger, children and young people must recite a prayer. Krampus in North America is kind of just a growing phenomenon. It hasn't really been here culturally, but it's just been kind of popular because, well, thanks to kind of the Tim Burton movie, people are kind of combining Christmas with scary stuff, I guess. In most parts of Slavonia, the culture is more reflected by Austrian culture, and Krampus there is called Harjeli. Sorry, I don't know. I don't recognize this. And is one of the companions of, once again, I'm going to mispronounce this, Milkavas, which is the Slovenian form of Saint Nicholas. In parts of we're going to mispronounce this. Krotoia, sorry, Crotia, I don't recognize the name. Krampus there is described as a devil wearing a cloth sack around his waist, chains around his neck, ankles, and wrists. And it is tradition that a child receives a gift from St. Nicholas and is given a golden branch to represent his good deeds throughout the year. But Krampus here, if the child misbehaves, Krampus takes the gifts for himself and leaves only a silver branch to represent the child's bad acts. Costumes are a central part of the Krampus celebrations. There's usually some characters that go along with it, including Krampus himself, Saint Nicholas, the Woodsman, angels, and the Old Woman, which I plan to get to eventually on a future video, maybe next year. But Krampus is a half goat, half demon costume. The primary elements include fursuits, horns, demon mask, hooves, and props can include bells, birch branches, a basket that's worn on his back, change, walking staff. But traditionally the costume is made from goat/sheep skins. Actual animal horns, usually made from actual animals, but lately they've been going to latex and stuff like that. There's actually a few YouTube videos to show actually how they make these stuff in that area. So go check those. You can find them pretty easily. Go search them. Now, the character Krampus has been imported and kind of changed for North American media. And just a few examples of things that the Krampus has appeared in. There's a collection of postcards by Monte Bonachap in 2004 called The Krampus, The Devil of Christmas. In 2012, Gerald Brum wrote a book called Krampus the Yule Lord. There was a 2012 episode of The League called A Krampus Carol. Never seen it. Why don't you go check it out? A 2004 episode of The Ventral Bros called A Very Venture Christmas included the Krampus. In 1998, an arcade game called Card Evil had an appearance of the Krampus. And the Krampus was also in the game The Binding of Isaac Rebirth from 2014. The last thing that I could find on Krumpus is the 2015 Christmas comedy horror movie from Universal Pictures, Krampus. I haven't seen it. Maybe I'll watch it sometime and I'll do a follow-up video. Now that's everything I could find on the Krampus. I'm sorry for any background noise. It's the holidays. I have family in town and they cannot be quiet. I'm not going to try to make them be quiet. I'm just trying to film this late at night. That's why I'm kind of out of it. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time, and Merry Christmas. Bye.